critically acclaimed box office hit and Academy valedictorian of spring 1999, written and directed by Larry and Andy Wachowski, The Matrix has had an immense cultural impact across the world and on cinema itself, spawning a multitude of sequels and spin-offs, expanding its universe and philosophies. Its themes and ideas are still relevant today. So, gear up, folks, as we swallow up our red pills and dive into the rabbit hole. The scene opens with the Oracle sitting by a kitchen counter, baking something. Then she raises her hand and tells Thomas,
I know you're Neil.
signifying that she is the Oracle, being a figure that can tell prophecies of the future, usually represented through priests or priestesses. And her words,
Bingo. Not quite what you were expecting, right?
it encapsulates the message of the scene off the bat, of being the one isn't something seen, but embodied. Even more so, to prove that she is the Oracle, shown through Gloria Foster's body positioning. Her body facing away from Thomas's, not so much glancing in his direction until like 12 seconds into the scene, proving the fact further that she is the Oracle through both her words and her actions. The examples with the sitting and Thomas breaking the vase, asking him, would you still have broken it if I hadn't said anything? Implicating whether he was destined to break it or not. So, as the scene goes on, the Oracle questions Thomas's belief of being the one. He responds to, still doubtful of whether he is. She then points at a sign above the doorframe written, Temet Noske, Latin for know thyself. She then tells Thomas, being the one is just like being in love. Nobody can tell you you're in love. You just know it, through and through, balls to bones. This informs Thomas that he cannot be told until he realizes it himself, that he is in love, an allegory for being the one. She then provides another example in the form of a checkup to see if he himself believes that he is the one. She says,
But you already know what I'm going to tell you. I'm not the one. Sorry, kid. You got the gift. But it looks like you're waiting for something.
informing us that he is the one, yet he still can't find it within himself to believe those words are true. But you can't be told if you're in love till you feel you are. Still slightly convinced that what Morpheus said was true, the Oracle then begins speaking of Morpheus and the prophecy that Neo must face, the fork in the road that will decide if Neo is the one, foretold in Joseph Campbell's The Hero's Journey. Telling Thomas that Morpheus believes wholeheartedly that he is the one, so much so that he'll even risk his own life for Thomas's. Come time, one of them will have to die. The choice up to Thomas on whether whose life it will be, his or Morpheus's. A parallel to the red or blue pill. The choice again will have to be his own. She then laments his belief on destiny that
Start feeling better. You'll remember you don't believe in any of this fate crap. You're in control of your own life. Remember?
with a cookie in hand from the Oracle, now reflecting his newfound resolve, he leaves the room. A 5-minute scene ensues when Trinity leaves the Matrix. Now, faced with Agent Smith alone, Thomas starts to believe in his capabilities. Shot like a Western showdown, the two fire their guns at one another, then leading to another bullet-time showdown sequence, like the rooftop. Now, out of bullets, the two face with hand-to-hand combat. Shot at eye level for most of the fight, it shows how evenly matched Agent Smith and Thomas are. This fight is representative of Thomas's growth throughout the story of being the one, and how far he's come, and how Thomas has done the impossible of accomplishing something virtually unheard of. shows that Thomas has always been the one. He just needed to believe it himself. Like Morpheus says earlier, he's beginning to believe. Whilst an oncoming train approaches, Thomas looks toilsomely before this exchange happens.
You hear that, Mr. Anderson? That is the sound of inevitability. It is the sound of your death. Goodbye, Mr. Anderson. My name is Neo.
This tells us he truly acknowledges himself to be the one, that he is who he wants to be. Fate won't dictate him like words won't characterize him. He is Neo, and he believes only in him and his choices, and with that, he plays with the extent of these rules, no longer bounding himself to them. As Morpheus implied he could earlier on with, because that they will never be as strong or as fast as you can. Now proven firsthand, for the first time, a rebel was able to take down an agent under their own rules. The scene ending with Neo headed out of the train station. Ultimately, the story is about Neo's story of overcoming his reluctance and becoming the chosen one. As we mentioned earlier, Joseph Campbell's observation of the hero's journey from the hero with 1,000 faces, published in 1949, is in heavy use when examining Neo's character arc. However, I feel the idea is explored a little bit more when discussing the Oracle, allowing us to see some nuance when picking apart this character, as she questions Neo on his revelation, not reaffirming it for Neo to ruminate, but for him to see within himself. It's like a fact. It's one thing for words to describe, but to observe it yourself, of which no amount of words can begin to describe the power of sight itself. That's why actions speak louder than words. That's why when the bullet time sequence happens, it shows us Neo's growth without explicitly telling the audience. A golden rule within cinema. Don't show, but tell. And that's why Neo's arc is done so well, with his growth from a curious office worker in a dead-end software company as a nobody Thomas Anderson, to now being the thing his idols idealize, placing a weight of sudden expectation on the person he should be for them, all the while grappling with the reality of a new world and being told that everything he felt and lived through in his previous life wasn't real, that it doesn't matter, putting him in somewhat of a dysphoria, like the Wachowskis when they discovered that they were transsexual. And in all of that, he finally finds himself in this world as he flies out into the end credit scene, now knowing that he is the one. He is Neo.